Here we go again. Bad job with WAPTech. People who do not know the origin story for the name Jesus Christ and misquoting the Bible and using that Reader's Digest version that everybody keeps hanging on to instead of the Encyclopedia Britannica version that it came from. All the editing, you guys don't know about it? I love it when biblically ignorant people talk to biblically literate atheists like me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. You haven't been in enough dusty bookshelves to be up to my level. I'm sorry. But here we go. Not sure what I got to do to get through to you. What you have is the requirements I have. This is the same person who's been gish galloping. You must cease doing every tactic that you use to win an argument. That's it. You're not going to win conversion. You must cease and desist doing these tactics. You're not going to get through to anybody. No one has to put up with you. You don't make the rules. Everyone else makes the rules. It's my channel. I make the rules. And the rule is, if you're going to say something, please don't misquote the damn Bible at least. But if you're going to say something, provide some sort of reference for it. Instead of, oh, I know the Bible. No, you don't know shit. Shut up. You're an ignorant twerp. Scientist types have this tunnel vision that God can't exist. Wrong. That is not anything any scientist has said. The only reason I say that that I can prove, or I can say that it's been proven to me that God, the way that religions present him, doesn't exist, is because every single religion does the one thing that proves God can't exist. They refuse to provide proof. If someone says over and over again, I have a perpetual motion machine, I'm running my house off of it, but they won't prove it, they don't have a perpetual motion machine. It's a really simple, straightforward result. If you make a claim and refuse to back it up with anything, and they get mad when someone points out that very fact, you're a liar. And every religion posits that it's based on faith. That's not relevant. That doesn't help anything. That doesn't make the sun come up and down. Tide goes in, tide goes out, Bill O'Reilly, because of gravity and the moon and the sun. I don't have to put up with ignorant people. I don't have to suffer fools gladly. No matter what the evidence shows, the evidence does not show any evidence of a God. All we ever see are natural phenomena. You wanting desperately for that to be proof of something because you claim, this is what happens when I have to deal with this. The majority of people who claim that something happening is a miracle refuse to research what causes it. Your claim that a God exists is based on your personal ignorance of it. That's it. You don't know how a rainbow works, therefore God. No, rainbows work by very, very easily reproduced results. I've had people claim, you can't make a rainbow indoors. Yes, I can. I've done it. Most of you have. You just didn't pay attention. It's extremely easy to do. Take a shower with a light bulb more than 12 feet away. That's it. That's all. I'm not kidding. It's not that complicated. Refusing to acknowledge this doesn't change whether it happened. That doesn't make it a miracle in your shower either. And if it happens in front of them, oh, that must be the devil's work. No, it happens all the time. You didn't pay attention because you were specifically deciding that rainbows only happen because of God or something. I'm obviously oversimplifying it, but that's the argument. I'm not kidding. I've had someone tell me that. They wouldn't do the experiment to prove to themselves they were wrong. This is based on your ignorance, not God. You. I'm not insulting your God. I'm not claiming your God is wrong. I'm claiming you're wrong, and I can prove it. Ergo, you say, how are you going to get through to me? Stop being dishonest. You know the law of cause and effect, right? It's not a law. It's called the law of cause and effect. It's not a law. I mean, it can be if you want it to be, but we're oversimplifying things, aren't we? The first event to happen at the birth of the universe had to have an original cause. Yes, the collapse of the previous universe. This is one of the many possibilities, the most likely one, because it's the only one that would actually accommodate for there's something being for the beginning of the universe. Energy doesn't necessarily produce gravity. Matter does. Matter and energy are interchangeable. Ergo, the most likely scenario, although we don't have any way of proving it, is that the previous universe had enough matter in it to be a closed universe, collapse in on itself, form a singularity, and explode and turn into pure raw energy, which has no mass, can move at a very high speed, and time-space itself had collapsed and then rebounded. That's the most likely effect, which means we have an extremely long-duration oscillation. Not forever. The universe and the one after it, if this one collapses, eventually we come to the point that either A, it can't collapse on itself, and it expands forever and freezes, which is the prognosis we have for this universe. This may be the last universe. Or it'll collapse again, and the next universe will be filled with people arguing over how many angels are in the head of a pin again. You thought that this was an unsolvable question, right? The only answer I know of is that it was a previous universe that collapsed and expanded again, which would strongly indicate that this is a closed universe and it will collapse as well into a big crunch. You really thought that this was an unsolvable problem, right? Energy is not spontaneous. As a matter of fact, it is. It's extremely spontaneous. You didn't know that at all either. This has been observed. Your ignorance is how you... Your God is based on your ignorance. It's a placeholder for your lack of the ability to go pick up a book. This following is what has to be for us to live in a godless universe. Nothing spontaneously created itself from nothing, and I've heard this argument before. That is never the assertion anybody has made about science. And this, again, is not about proving God doesn't exist. It's finding out that God doesn't need to exist for the universe to be here. It's a simple conclusion. It doesn't have to be correct either. There could have been a God, too. There could be a God right now. But your insistence on not reading about these things and putting up the straw man, nothing created, nothing from... You're cutting and pasting this from the same idiots that I've had to deal with all my life. They are very aggressive about using these expressions and saying that's what science is saying. That's not what science is saying. And I'm also going to acknowledge what religion used to be is a codified way for everyone to get along with each other under rule of the church so that they would get along. That's what the church was. And religion was a shared set of cultural and social actions and beliefs and mores so that we could fit together and work as a group and have an identity. That is literally the origin of religion. We created it. You do have to understand that this is literally what we've learned about ourselves. We as a species, doesn't matter what religion you're part of, we as a species do not have to drop every bit of everything we've learned in life because you're offended by me not joining your damn church. And it's not a godless universe. Scientists aren't trying to prove God doesn't exist. But if you're going to attempt to do something called a proof, you have to provide proof. And talking to people like they're infants that won't knock it off and stop screaming and throwing a tantrum is getting old now. And by the way, most religious people aren't like this. I want to point that out. A giant explosion of spontaneous energy that did come from a previous universe. The most likely scenario is that. That's just all there is to it. Most physicists don't want to say that because, not because it's some big deep secret, but because we don't have any proof of it because it's an inference. It's too close to philosophy. But it's the most likely scenario, and there's nothing really stopping it. The previous universe would have to operate on slightly different rules compared to ours. That's all. But only a few of them. Different forces holding the atoms together. Maybe not based on string theory. You know. We'll probably figure it out in a few years. What will you do then? Claim that our ignorance of what you had for lunch is proof of God? I mean, what are you going to do next? It's mental to believe all of that stuff that you straw man together that nobody in science believes or has ever said. You're reading back. This is like somebody saying something terrible about you and saying you have to defend that position. You don't. They're making the claim, and they say, well, you said that. I'm not punching you. This is the same crap. Come on. As I just explained, energy cannot be spontaneous. Yes, it has. It is spontaneous. If you have empty space, energy pops in and out of the universe all the damn time. It does. Energy is an effect and a result sometimes. You do know that, right? Time-space is a thing. Crap. Your ability to think is very limited. It has to have an original first cause. No, it doesn't. You're in a universe now that has had all the causes happen. You don't even know about the inflation period in time-space, do you? Do you honestly think the universe just decided one day, yeah, I want to exist? No, I don't believe that at all, but you're claiming effectively that some god said that, which is equally preposterous. You're claiming something you can't prove exists, and then demanding I not say that that's basically circular or just dumb argument. The only proof of it you have is something written from 300 BC to 300 AD that was written by people who didn't bother even looking at whether they were right about anything, and some of the stuff they have in there is simply wrong. And it's a trimmed-down version of a bunch of other things that were contradictory to each other. You won't acknowledge that. You won't acknowledge it in the next comment you post on my channel. I know you won't. You can't. Because that would put a tiny little defect in your little wall of stupid. This is what people hate about people who claim to be religious people. This insane... Screw it. Being insane. You're demanding we put up with you being crazy. I don't have to put up with you being crazy. This is just common sense. No, you're literally going off on a tangent about things that no one in the scientific community or anybody else says, not even philosophers. None of them have said that. This is a straw man. It's something one of your kind invented so you could win a damned argument by creating an argument you could beat. You really have an arrogance problem. There is a designer who started the very long chain of events of cause and effect that birthed the universe, and every single thing afterwards isn't requiring him. So you're claiming God as somebody who simply started the match and started the universe. I've seen a bunch of people on YouTube do that too. Okay, and we now understand everything back to approximately the first 2 milliseconds after the explosion that started the universe. So literally the only thing you're saying God did or has ever done is causing an explosion to cause the universe to exist, which was most likely caused by the previous universe collapsing. Now what the hell are you going to do? You're going to push God back to only existing in the previous universe behind that wall where we very much cannot look behind it. So I guess God is behind that God wall of us having that level of ignorance of what happened before the Big Bang. Well, we know what happened. Well, what happened before that? At this point, you're literally, this isn't goalpost moving. This isn't even backpedaling. This is twisting yourself into an Gordian knot. Think the universe as God's dream and everything in it created through the power of thought alone. No, because that doesn't mean anything. Because the power of thought and prayer doesn't affect anything. You can't make anything move inside of a vacuum chamber by thinking about it. It will not do it. You can't even influence a random number generator with these things. And a God can't do it either. Even on an incredibly minor scale, we can't do it, and neither can a God, because you don't have any evidence that it ever was done. You're demanding that I not accept a basic rule, that evidence must exist. You don't have it. Kind of similar to our dreams, the worlds we create in our mind and the people in our places. Yes, they're virtual environments. It's called imagination. Computers do it all the time. Are computers gods now? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.